we have two rational expressions that are equal to each other, and we want to find out what x is. In order to do that, we need the denominators to be the same, or the numerators, so that we can then equate the numerator or denominator, whichever one we don't have, or we can use cross multiplication. I'm going to use cross multiplication because it's more efficient. So I'm going to multiply this 3 by the denominator on the right, and then I'm going to multiply the 5 by the denominator on the left. And that's why it's called cross multiplication, because you are multiplying the denominators and numerators that are opposite to each other. Now sometimes this requires simplifying later because you end up with much larger numbers, but it will always work. I'll show you another method slightly later, which is really the same thing. We're just looking at what is missing as opposed to strict cross multiplication. So I'm going to get rid of the 9 here by subtracting it because that's the opposite of positive 9. So I end up with 12x equals 10x minus 4. Then I'm going to remove the 10x. So I get 2x equals negative 4. So x equals negative 2. Now before you're happy with that as your answer, you need to consider the restrictions on x. That is what it can't be. We know our denominator can never equal 0 because we can't divide by 0. So we need to see or determine what value of x would allow for that to happen. So to do that, you could always just make it equal 0 and then solve. So 2x is going to equal negative 1. X equals negative a half. So x is not allowed to equal negative a half. Similarly, on the right-hand side, 4x plus 3. So 4x equals negative 3. X equals negative 3 on 4. So x cannot equal negative 3 on 4. And since our solution of x equals negative 2 is none of these restrictions, it is indeed a solution to this problem. Here we have another one. I'm going to do cross multiplication again. So I get 4x minus 8 equals 4 times x minus 2. So 4x minus 8 equals 4x minus 8. Okay, now ordinarily when this happens, when we're solving, this means an infinite number of solutions, or all values of r. So you could say that x equals r. However, we always have to consider our restrictions in x. Here, x cannot equal 2. That is because 2 minus 2 is 0, and we can't have 0 in the denominator. Therefore, x can equal r, excluding when it equals 2. Okay, and one last one. We'll do the same thing again. So 4x minus 8 is equal to 3 times x minus 2. So 4x minus 8 equals 3x minus 6. I'm going to add my 8, so I get 4x equals 3x plus 2. Move my 3x over here, so I get x equals 2. I need to consider my restrictions on x, which in this case, it cannot equal 2 because 2 minus 2 equals 0. Therefore, I have no solution because there is nothing else to choose from, and this one is invalid. So this problem here has actually no solutions.